Hello and welcome to USTS, the Ultimate Sports Training Show. I'll be your host for today's show, Bob Lemire. And joining me on today's show, a good friend of mine from way back, a fellow taekwondoist, MIT alum. I just found out now, I mean, even though we've known each other for years, a pistolero. Is that what they might call it back in the...
Yes, we're frequently called pistoleros.
Master in Taekwondo, Master Spencer Webb. Welcome to the show, Mr. Webb, Master Webb.
Thank you, Grandmaster.
I've been meaning to have you on for a while because I know you're kind of flexible. You own your own business, and I'm trying to get all the Grandmasters, in kind of an order, but... boy, my schedule and everybody's schedule is in another, and to get people out of work. So I'm going to skip around, and I already have, by the way.
I've been enjoying them. I've been listening.
Yeah, we have some fun. I have a lot of fun with people I've worked out with and fellow taekwondoists. Before we start, just give us a nice little rundown of a little of your life, what you've been on.
Well, I went to college at MIT. That's what brought me up to the Boston area. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Adrian.
Hey. But people tell me they don't hear the Brooklyn coming out.
I don't
so I'm pretty happy about that.
There
You
you
can't
go.
tell where I came from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I grew up in Brooklyn, went to school at MIT. And, at that transition, I was actually pretty active in cycling. I did a lot of cycling with my buddies. Nothing formal, although my buddies did formal competition, and I supported them. When I got up to school, day one, I found the shooting coach. Most people don't know that MIT has a rifle team and a pistol team, and I got on the pistol team day one, and that was my
No, did you already
focus.
have any knowledge of the pistols? You must have. You don't just jump into something like that, or do you?
Yeah, no, my dad, brought me up shooting. I was shooting. I remember first shooting a pistol when I had to be 7.
Wow.
And
Jesus. In Brooklyn, not in Brooklyn.
well, no, upstate New York.
Okay,
we
very
went.
good.
He used to go upstate New York for hunting and
Boy, that's
such. And so I had it was a weird upbringing in that I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, but I was camping with the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
I was hunting with my dad,
Right.
and so.
You ended up in the country now.
Yeah,
Forever. Forever.
exactly. I tell people if I keep moving north, I'm going to end up in the Arctic Circle.
I got a feeling, yeah.
So went to MIT, got on the pistol team, and started a pretty serious track of Olympic and international pistol competition, which is the kind of competition we're involved with.
Right, yeah.
Also shot what we call conventional pistol, which is the American style club type.
You have to have a certain pistol. You can't just walk in there with any.
No, different events have different requirements,
right, yeah.
right? So most of it's 22 caliber. All the collegiate stuff was 22,
Right.
and I shot standard pistol. So there was standard pistol, rapid fire pistol, free pistol.
Right.
Those were the Olympic events. We didn't shoot rapid fire; that required too much special equipment.
Right.
But I ended up being really a specialist in standard pistol.
Right. And when you say so, is it a certain stance yet, or is it just in a stance?
It's all one-handed.
One-handed.
All the shooting is
You notice I
one-handed.
went like this.
Yeah, I did notice
I know
that.
nothing about that. But I watch a lot of detective shows, if you don't mind.
Yeah, right. So standard pistol was actually copied from the American conventional pistol competition. But yeah, you're standing there with one hand shooting at 25 yards and 50 yards, depending on the stage.
Right.
And that was carried into, let's see, standard pistol. I'm not sure ever made it into the Olympics. Olympics was free pistol, which was the high precision slow fire event, and rapid fire pistol,
Right,
which was the fast event that we did not participate in.
Right. So, all right, let me get this straight. You did compete in the Olympics, or you trials for the Olympics, or how did that go?
So I shot in the Olympic tryouts.
The tryouts.
I never was on a national team.
Okay. Which you probably have to be, no?
Well,
you have to be on a team where...
I've shot against individuals who were just stupendous,
Right.
but typically you make the U.S. team, you do international events, and those people usually end up on the Olympics.
Right.
And I know Olympians.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I know gold medalists in both rifle and pistol.
Yeah.
And
well, that's wild. I didn't know that about
Yeah.
you. I never knew that.
we never had a chance to talk about that.
No. When did you start the Taekwondo school?
So that was probably around 1989. I was thinking about that. It was 88, 89. You were my first instructor.
Right. I think it must have been 89, 90, because I think we started there in 1990 or 89.
So it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
it was early.
Right. Because I used to work at Wang, and then I quit Wang and just started teaching full time.
Yep.
When, as we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, when it was lucrative, and there were 8,000 schools in the area.
Right.
So now you're still teaching, no? You're teaching Taekwondo in Pelham, New Hampshire.
Yep.
Teach on Monday nights.
I teach Monday nights.
Yeah.
When I started in, we think 89 or 90.
Right.
I think I got up to blue belt roughly, and then I had an 8-year hiatus where my knees were hurting. But there's a silver lining to that story.
Right.
It wasn't what I thought it was, and it was fixed. And then I came back.
Yeah.
So then I came back, and then I progressed.
Right. You were lucky enough to train under the great Grandmaster Mo Young Lee.
Oh.
And he loved you. Grandmaster Lee had this, if you went to a place like MIT, because he loved college, and he loved studies, and he would always ask about, so where's Mr. Webb this today? Or you'd go for a test, and I remember one of your tests, and it was, I think probably a second degree, second dan, and you had a whole thing with, you had a whole thing that you made, and it was, wow, it was different.
That was second. That was that was talking about self-defense.
Self-defense and legality of Taekwondo.
Self-defense law, and that particular thing that you remember, we called the passive fighting stance.
The passive, yeah.
And it was basically a fighting stance,
right.
But instead of the closed fists, we just opened them and made it look like, hey,
but you're ready.
Oh, you're totally
but
ready.
You're ready.
Yeah.
And I remember, I forget, because Grandmaster Lee had such a great sense of humor, and I think there was something that happened. I'm sitting right next to him because I was sitting, and I think he might ask you a question or somebody. So what? And you know how he used to talk. He would think as he was talking. What happens if you do passive and they still come after you? And you kick them. Oh, that's very good. He liked that answer. God rest his soul. I talk about him, and I
miss him.
Oh my God, yeah. He called me up 2 to 3 weeks before he actually passed away, and told me he was getting better. I was driving. I had to pull over in Pelham by Gene Guys, and because it was him, I had to stop and talk to him, and we talked for a good half hour. And he told me, "I'm coming back. I'm going to get back into good shape." He was going to fight it. He was fighting it already. He already fought it for I don't know how many years. I said, "That's so good, Mr. Lee." And then we talked about old times. But so anyway, so now you own a business, your own business. In with Pelham. That's Pelham.
So I live in Windham now.
Oh, I mean Windham.
But I lived in Pelham for 22 years.
Okay.
In fact, it's the one place I lived the longest in my life.
In Pelham.
Was Pelham, New Hampshire.
So you are going north. You're going to go in Alaska. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I am an electrical engineering consultant. I design antennas. And I work for a lot of companies that have antennas in their products or have antenna problems, and I do consulting, and that started in 2000 officially.
Right.
And prior to that, I worked for a company in New Hampshire, in Nashua, for 6 years as their antenna engineer.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my engineering thing is antennas.
Right.
And I love it. And then
MIT. You were at MIT working. Doing antennas and
so actually, I did not start antennas until long after I left.
Oh,
so
okay.
When I was at MIT, I was on a track to do circuit design, what we call analog circuit design.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and I worked for a company doing that for a while. I worked for another company doing integrated circuit design,
Right.
chip design, and but always was noodling antennas in my head. I was always messing with antennas because, again, from Dad, I was a ham radio operator at the age of 11.
That'll do it.
Right?
Yep.
And the thing that caught me was antennas. But I left. I studied on my own, and I started studying antennas, and I didn't get it. And I studied more, and I didn't get it. And I studied more, and I didn't get it. One morning I woke up, I'm like, oh, and I got it.
And I have not a clue what you're talking about because, if you couldn't get it after studying all that time, what did you get? Was it the airwaves, how they work?
The approach to antennas is always mathematical. They teach you these formulas and
Right.
Maxwell's equations. And,
yeah.
And it would give anybody a headache.
Right, yeah.
And my approach, because I didn't start that in school, okay, my approach was a little more practical. And I had to figure out why antennas work the way they do, and not with math.
Right.
And once I did that, it was like, oh,
It ain't that high.
it's not that hard. So
Yeah.
I used to, my clients used to say to me, well, this stuff is black magic. And
Right,
I'd say,
yeah.
no, it's really simple.
Yeah.
And they'd say, no, it's black magic.
Yeah.
Finally, after a while, I said, you know what? It
It's
is black magic.
yeah.
And here's the invoice.
That's what. Yeah, it's well, it's like anything else. Whether you, the pistol or you're doing taekwondo for years, this stuff is hard, and you're like, no, it ain't. This ain't hard. Just do
No,
it.
you just got to do it.
You got to do it
Over and over and
but you
over.
got to love it. If
Yeah.
you don't love it, it's going to fade on you, or you'll find something. Like you said, you found something that you really love. Now you're more of a machinist. You have your own machine. I watch because you're on. All right, so and I'm all over the place, as you can see.
Yeah.
You're on Facebook. You're on YouTube. You're on Twitter. You're on Instagram. What else you on?
So the main channel to find my stuff now is either YouTube, if you like videos, or Instagram.
Right.
And on YouTube, it's Kinetic with a K, Kinetic
Right.
Precision NH.
NH Kinetic.
And you'll find it. And there's two things going on there. I have videos that I'm doing in machining. I haven't talked about machining.
Yeah. We will.
And I'm also doing a weekly live, which has a podcast that
Right.
sprouts out of it.
Right. Right.
And that's called the PFG Live.
Okay. I've been on it, I think, with you. Down when you started. Maybe that's not the same thing. But I remember to give him my, yeah, master.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'd say something stupid and I'd
So
leave.
we started on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we started doing the lives on Instagram.
Right.
And people would text in and stuff.
Right.
And then we moved that over to YouTube Live. And still we get live chat.
Right. Okay.
So we get live chat from folks. So sometimes it's just me and we talk about some
Right.
topics. Sometimes I have guests on.
Right. Okay.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's fun watching, and it's fun. You have a good sense of humor.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying, right there. And well, you're from Brooklyn. What do you expect?
Hey, you got to hold your own. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, because now you're making. What do I see? These stones. These, I see stones. I go. I know what they're doing.
So they're called PFG stones. That's
you have your own brand.
That's the brand,
Right.
PFG stones, and you got to go back to the antennas, right? So
Okay.
I was doing antenna consulting, and I couldn't just design stuff on paper. I had to make it.
Right.
So I would design it, computer simulate it, optimize it, and then go and make it. So I had to learn how to make stuff. So I got
As a
into
machinist.
as a machinist. So I started with little machines. When it got to big machines, and all of a sudden one day I said, I kind of like this stuff.
I can see.
So I became a machinist.
And that's on your own property.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And because I've seen every time I tune in, because I'm always on Facebook, and I said, oh, he's got something going, a new machine, and I went, business must be good. He is just dropping some heavy bread into this stuff.
So the good news is that, again, it all started in support of my antenna business,
Right.
but everything's paid for.
Yeah.
All the machines are paid for. So that's my philosophy. Is
Right.
we're not taking loans out and buying stuff.
Right, yeah, you pay for it. Yeah.
But anything I could think of upstairs, See, the engineer's upstairs,
Yeah.
and the machinist is downstairs.
Right, yeah.
Anything I could think of upstairs, I have to be able to hand the machinist downstairs. He has to be able to make it.
Right.
And then he hands it back to the engineer upstairs
Right, yeah,
for
yeah.
testing.
Do you ever argue with them?
Constantly. Are you kidding? It's like
What do you mind?
it's nonstop.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes Chunder just closes the door.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, let those two guys argue.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Okay, so now I'm a machinist, and I see a video from my now good friend Robin Renzetti about precision ground stones.
Is Renzetti from Brooklyn also?
Renzetti? No, he's from Pennsylvania. That's
All right.
extreme Western Brooklyn.
I know.
So anyway, he did this video, and I'm like, that is the coolest thing ever. And in essence, we're taking an abrasive stone,
Right.
and we're using a diamond wheel on a surface grinder, and
Right.
we're grinding it very flat.
Just so smooth.
Very flat, very smooth. And that becomes a very important tool in precision work,
Right, right, yeah.
which I won't bore you with.
No, but I saw you. I see you doing it. You're rubbing
Yep.
the metal, and you're getting the nicks out of the.
Yeah, and you're observing the flatness and the surface properties of the metal down to microns.
You could never see it, right?
You couldn't. You can't feel it.
So why do you have to? I mean,
So
you don't-
originally it was, well, if you're putting two precision surfaces together,
Right.
okay, if there's a scratch on one, they don't go flat.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So,
so you stone both surfaces before you put them together, or if you accidentally dent a precision surface, you can stone down the.
see, I would have
burn.
went to the True Value Hardware and got some sandpaper. Fine
Yeah,
sandpaper.
yeah, really the good stuff.
The good stuff.
Yeah,
$3.
So I buy the stones that you can go buy at the store, and then I grind them.
So you're buying a stone that you would use anyway, but you're making it even that.
You would
much.
use it to sharpen your knife, or
okay. All
or
right.
grandfather's axe.
Right. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
But once I'm done with it,
It's
it's
just
used on precision surfaces. It's pretty
I see
amazing.
you're making a lot of them.
I am making a lot of them.
You're making a lot of them. I see.
and it's really taken off. For more information,
Yes. Go ahead.
go to pfg.gg,
pfg.gg.
and that'll teach you
You'll
about
get
it.
and you get some stones if you want. You can buy stones from you if they need them.
Yes, only if you have money.
Any machinist should have this, right? Is that
Well, I'm sure there's some machinists that really shouldn't, but
Well,
yeah, anybody who's doing precision work
right?
really should have them. And most of the time, guys will get them, and they'll send me messages like, "I
Unbelievable.
knew they were good. I didn't understand,
That's cool.
what they are, and
Right.
now they are." So I've sold to national laboratories, companies that make custom race car engines. Just the
Yeah,
list
anything
is,
that has to be precision
Yep.
to the micron. Now, and as I say, I fly off, but antennas. Did you have something to do with outer space or something? Not outer space. I remember you mentioned something like that.
So the closest my antennas got to space were on, if you remember, when Felix Baumgartner broke the free fall record from 128,000 feet. My antennas were in his belly pack.
Wow, nice.
I did work
and
on
he broke
that.
the record.
Broke the record.
Is he living?
Yes, he is.
All right, good for him, Bombach.
That story is quite. And there's some behind the scenes stories,
I can
which
only imagine.
yeah,
Because you're going to be a complete nut.
yeah. So
Free
and
falling.
then the deepest my antennas ever got, they went on underwater vehicles that would go down, make measurements, take data, pop up, talk to a satellite, go back down.
and that was your antenna.
Yep,
Wow, that's just
they were all over the place. And
It's-
I can't say specifics, but if you open a website for a major retailer and buy some things
right.
that have antennas in them, I
Yeah.
designed all those antennas.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So I'm all over the place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're the diverse everyone. That's good. And your taekwondo, how are we doing the taekwondo now?
Well, the first thing you need to know is I'm older than I used to be. Did you know that?
Wow.
It's true.
I'm thinking, yeah. Go ahead. Don't tell me you're a kid in my world.
Yeah, I
You're
know.
a kid.
I still am. So Taekwondo's going great. I've been, teaching, which is a real challenge. Because now not only do you have to be good at what you do, you have to be able to teach it. So that opened up a whole chapter, which I brought the knowledge I gained in pistol competition and pistol training. All made sense in Taekwondo as far
Right.
as how do you teach,
Right.
and how do you
Right.
basically my philosophy is catch somebody doing something right,
Right.
and provide positive reinforcement.
Right. Yep. And because you're fourth down now.
Yes, sir.
When are we planning for fifth down? When's fifth down coming?
Yeah.
We got a couple another
Fifth
year. Or
is, I think we're 3 years out,
okay.
thereabouts.
Watch how fast it goes.
Yeah, I know.
You'll be as old as me one of these days.
I know.
Yeah, and the school, as we were talking before, Spencer and I, schools aren't like back in the day when I started with Grandmaster Muyong Lee and stuff. Actually, between Grandmaster Muyong Lee and even in Lawrence and in Connecticut, we had a hold on a lot of. I mean, we were one of the schools, and then we moved to Pelham, and still had a hold. Then schools just popped up, and in a 5-mile radius from our school, 10 schools, right. And people had to go by another school to get to our school, and they don't know why would we travel far when there's one way, and so that hurt the school business. And never mind that, organized sports like your lacrosse and your soccer that just blew up. Yeah. Kids they're overwhelmed. And it's too bad because the Taekwondo business is tough right now. But our school here in Pelham is a nonprofit organization.
Exactly.
That's what saves it.
It does save it, but it also people come to the school and they look at the fees we charge, and they're half.
They're half.
Literally half of everything else.
With masters and grandmasters as teachers.
It's the most unique thing around. Even Grandmaster Lee would say that there's no other school like it in the world.
There hasn't been in years where all his students back in the late 70s, or mid-70s, what am I saying? Mid-70s, 1970s, today, it's 50 years, all right? And most of us have been together for, I'm talking about the Grandmasters. We worked out for 50 years. Yeah. Grandmaster Pelletier just hit 50. I'm going to hit 50 I think in December.
Yep.
But I started martial arts before I went to Grandmaster Lee. But after going to him, it wasn't martial arts. He was martial arts, man. He was the best in my world that ever was. Was in Taekwondo.
The tradition is being passed down
right.
Well. Grandmaster Pelletier is, in my mind, is the database.
That's right.
He just said something this past week, which changed how I thought about a certain move, for the last 20 years.
Right.
And I'm like, holy cow! Yeah. So we're very lucky.
To have the talent. The talent and the grandmasters, 9th degree, 8th degrees, 7th degrees, 4th degrees. I mean, that's unheard of. That everyone stays together and a non-profit organization.
So, in the for-profit schools, the tradition was, as you know, at 3rd degree, you would spin out and start a school, and then that's what you did. And I guess there was some money involved. Of course, we don't understand the money because we've done that, but we never spin out.
Right,
we stay right there.
Right. Yeah, because Grandmaster Lee started, and we were all. I was in Lowell, and he had a Lowell and Lawrence school, and I started in Lowell with him. Then all of a sudden, he closed the school in Lowell because it was too much for him. So he opened up, and then he knew he was going to Connecticut. So he had his children, and he wanted the education. He wanted his children to have certain education in a certain part of New England. So he's moved to Connecticut, started the school in Connecticut. Now we kept that school running. In Lawrence for him. Yep. And we did that for years and years. Then Lawrence started to be tough. It was a little rundown. You park your car outside, and you were hoping it was out there after. And there was a lot of things going on. So I remember moving into Pelham. And, was that nice?
Yeah.
The suburbs.
Yeah, the suburbs.
Police stations right down the street. I knew all the policemen. They'd come by with their dogs, and we'd talk. You know, and I'm like, this is so comfortable. You could park your car. Well, you can see your car from the school anyway. Right. And but that's so cool. And then yourself and great people. Great people.
The people are awesome.
Yeah. So anyone looking for a Taekwondo school, Pelham United Taekwondo, been there 50 years in the area.
We have a good website.
And a good website, United Taekwondo.
utkd.org.
utkd.org. What's so you have a couple of websites. Give a couple for yourself so that people can watch.
So the whole PFG Stone thing, people will enjoy pfg.gg. That's an information page, but you'll figure it out. And then my antenna consulting is antennasys.com, ANTENNASYS.com.
Right.
And I've been keeping pretty busy. My Instagram is Spencer_Webb_NH, and the YouTube channel is Kinetic Precision NH, and that's all my socials.
And they can, if they can Google you, Spencer Webb, WEBB.
Yes.
In antennas, Spencer Webb.
Yeah, it'll
Oh, pistolero.
Well, that might not explode.
Do you still shoot?
The last few years I've been very reticent to continue training. I have not shot. Well, I have not shot in competition in a decade, but I have friends that are, and we continue that discussion. And one day I'll get back to it.
Right. How about your children? Do you ever teach them any?
Yes, they've both been to the range with me.
Your wife?
Oh,
just to learn.
My wife, I didn't mention this, of course, because it's, my wife is a rifle shooter.
Oh, Jesus.
And she was at MIT on the rifle team.
Isn't that what? Is that not how you met?
That is how we met.
Okay.
So I'm older.
Yeah,
I won't say by how much. I'm a little sensitive to that.
Yeah.
But she was on the rifle team, and I was kind of out already, but I was hanging around the range.
Right.
And we met. That's how we met. I offered to help her with her canvas pants, and she said no.
Oh, why not?
but ultimately, it led to something. She's a rifle shooter. I'm a pistol shooter.
No, have you ever shot the rifle? You've definitely shot the rifle, and you just you just rather do the pistol.
Oh yeah. I'm. We tell everybody we had a shotgun wedding.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Was she in competition? Did you say she was?
She was in competition. She achieved more than I did. She was actually in the shoot-offs for the Olympic team.
Wow.
So she was one of 8 shooters.
Wow.
Competing for a slot.
Yeah.
And if you have to get beat by some folks, that's the folks to get beat by. So
that's wild. Yeah.
She actually did better than I did.
Yeah.
And she'll never let me forget it. Actually.
Yeah. And it's by a mil or something that somebody beat you by?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Is that how close they have to judge you? Or?
Literally.
Bullseye's a bullseye.
In rifle,
10,000ths
of an inch on a shot could make the difference.
Wow, can you believe it?
It's crazy.
Yeah. And you bring your own rifle.
Yep.
So that would make all the difference in the world on the precision.
Well, the equipment matters, right? So
that's right.
So the equipment has to meet certain requirements.
They check it.
So I don't know all of them. For standard pistol, of course, I remember them. It was a 1 kilogram trigger.
Right.
So if the trigger, broke below 1 kilogram, they'd weigh it, they'd inspect it. It was out. There's a barrel length requirement. It was iron sights, open sights, no optics.
You bought them. You didn't.
Oh yeah.
You have them specially made, or did you buy a gun? I don't know how that works.
Well, at the elite level,
right?
You have a gunsmith.
You have someone, right? Because you're sponsored probably, and you're going to make some money.
I've never been in that realm.
No, but you can.
There's sponsorships, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
And the same is true with rifles, and the price of a international style competition rifle is ridiculous.
I can only imagine. Yeah. But that could be winning or losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you could have that eye, and everyone's probably got the eye, but you're off.
Yep. I have a good friend. I haven't talked to him in a few years. Lanny Basham. He was an Olympic gold medalist in rifle.
Right.
He ended up not getting the rifle he wanted. He designed his own, and he had it built. And
you're not building rifles yet, or pistoleros.
I do a little closet gunsmithing, but I'm actually licensed to do that. So
you have to be licensed.
Only if
you're going to sell
a gunsmith for hire.
Right.
Generally, without getting into a whole bunch of details, needs to be licensed.
Yeah. Well, because you could make one. You could. I mean,
sure, of course, I could make every piece of it.
Yeah. You can actually make anything you want.
Yes.
Because you have every piece of machinery known to man.
Well, the ones I don't,
Maya.
there's an old saying: the only thing better than having a sailboat is having a friend with a sailboat.
Yeah.
So the machines I don't have, I have friends that
right?
have them.
But then you're their friend because hey, Spencer,
It's a close. I just got a text yesterday that this guy who doesn't live far from where we're sitting, by the way,
right.
He said, "I'm trying to cut this titanium, and I can't cut it with my equipment. Can you help me?" Well, it was a research project how to do this properly, and eventually I did it, and I cut these titanium discs for him and sent him on his way. Made a video about it. It's on my YouTube channel.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just got a text from him. You want to cut some more titanium?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Now that we have the recipe, right?
Now, as I've been watching you over the years, because I watch your show. I don't watch because I don't know anything about it. Because you guys start talking and
my biggest fans are those that have no idea what I'm saying.
Right. I just like listening to the banter sometimes, or listen to your banter. But as I watch, in the next week you got a big machine. Then the next I'm saying, how big of a work area he's got. Then I said he's going to branch out one of these days. Now is that in the thought? You must be thinking about it.
Just this past week,
week
and a half ago, I got contacted by somebody about a thing. That's all I can say.
A thing, yeah.
And it's like, oh boy, if I say yes to this, I might actually have to move out. But I'm in the camera work makes everything look like I have 12 acres.
No, I know it's perfect though.
But I have a 3-car garage, so it's an attached 3-car garage.
No cars can get in there, but
oh no, are you kidding?
Are you crazy?
My
let the snow pile up.
Jared would come home from school and say, my buddy told me his father has a car in a garage.
No.
And I'm like, I don't even understand that.
Here, go wipe off the car. Get the snow off that car. 2 feet. Oh, that's yeah. Because I'm looking. I'm saying, wow, he's got to have a big. So it's a 3-car garage.
It's a 3-car garage.
But even still, it must be full right now. Because for what I'm looking at,
it's full. Yeah, I cannot buy another machine right now.
But you're upstairs and you're having a cup of coffee, you walk downstairs in your slippers and your PJs or whatever, and you just say, "I think I'll work for 5 hours or whatever."
I have what I call my shop moccasins.
Yeah,
and I can go downstairs and do stuff. Yeah, no, it's really nice. I'm very fortunate.
It's funny because when I started the printing thing, Bob's Tees, I started down in my cellar in Drake. I just bought a bunch of machinery.
Yeah.
6 months to a year, I had to get out. I mean, I couldn't use my garage. I had a little garage. Couldn't use the garage because that was where the heater.
And all that machinery is still in use, right?
Well, we bought new machinery from that point on, but Bob's Tees still there.
Yeah.
It's there, and boy.
I got to tell a story about you. So I mentioned that during my Taekwondo career, I had an 8-year hiatus, right?
Right, yeah.
And I got my knees sorted out, and it turned out it was not what I feared it was. I thought I was getting some bone-on-bone action.
Right, meniscus problems.
It wasn't. It was muscle problems. And I found an awesome physical therapist. His name is Rob Armada. He's in Hampstead at Hampstead Sports and Rehab, and I love him.
Can I ask you what he did? Because I had a meniscus operation, and I'm kind of looking for something because it hurts, and I don't want to.
So what I learned, and again, I'm not an expert at this, but there's like basically 4 muscles around the knee, and the one that's on the inside, and I want to say it's called the VMO, but of course I don't remember. In people that sit at a desk and do stuff, it gets weak, right? So the Taekwondo was causing my kneecap to slide to the left, to slide to the outside, and it was this muscle that was too weak.
Too weak.
So we started building up that muscle. And
what exercise did you use? I mean, not that you can. Is it something that you had to have weights or something?
It was leg lifts with
stuff.
weights
Okay.
and some other stuff, but
that
it was specific. Yes, absolutely. But I can't emphasize enough how much skill and knowledge Rob brought to the table. He was an encyclopedia, and at least 3 times in my life, maybe 4, I've gone to Rob with a problem, and he would zero in on it and put his finger. Oh, here it is. And
he's an orthopedic surgeon.
No, he's a physical therapist.
Just a physical therapist,
but he's
that
a
has
doctor.
the knowledge.
He's a doctor of physical therapy. He's got a PhD, and he's fantastic. So anyway, I got fixed up. So I say I'm going back to Taekwondo.
Right.
So I pick up my bag, and I head down to the school. I'm looking around. was like, is Bob here? And I see, oh, the lights are on. So I walk in to Bob's Tees.
Right.
And I said, I'm looking for Bob. Now, what I didn't know
Other Bob.
was that his name was also Bob.
It was Bob's Tees. We grew up as friends, Bob's Tees.
So Bob, who now we're friends, right? I know.
Yeah.
He looked at me and goes, I'm Bob.
And with his dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
Oh, he's dry. He's so funny.
That was when I
I'm
came
Bob.
back. Is when I came back.
Oh, that's good.
And
Yeah.
and I had to remember. Well, I got schooled pretty quick. Is that when you come back from a hiatus like that,
Yeah.
your brain
Wants you to go full
wants
force.
you to go 100%,
Cannot.
and you have to stay at 30%.
Easily at 30.
You know,
Because you'll get hurt. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of people. And what happens is it's the pulled muscles, or, I used to kick this high, or I could do this fast, or I could do this many repetitions. Your muscles says, you haven't done it in a long time.
yeah.
Your muscles are talking to you going, hey, buddy.
Hey, Here, hold my tendon.
Yeah, hold my tendon there, yeah. And that's just, you learn that.
Yeah.
You learn that very quickly. Did you get hurt when you came back, or you just realized you must have been?
Oh, I was aching when I came back.
You will ache. You will even, you'll always ache.
I know. So you have to, and this is an important message for anybody that takes a long break and comes back. You have to. You're going to hurt. You have to keep it at 30%. Okay, you just ramp up slowly.
Enjoy yourself.
And you have to push through. You have to push through that initial hump,
Right.
and then you get back onto the. It's like getting back on the road,
Right.
and then it smooths out, and it was great.
I could do a whole show, and I don't like, it's no disrespect when I ever mention Grandmaster Lee, but being with him so many years, the way he talked was so funny, and he knew it. And he'd go, Bob. He'd call me Bob. He goes, Bob, how you feel today? Because he would give us a 2.5-hour work in Connecticut workout. And the next day, I go back to class. Bob, how do you feel today after yesterday's workout? I feel great, Mr. Lee. I feel good. Oh, really? Okay, we're going to have to work out harder. And I went, what'd I just say? I'm looking at Gary or something, Grandmaster Pelletier, and I looked, and he goes, then I'm going to have to, you should be sore. That's how we talk. The next day you should be sore. So if you're not sore, and he ramped them up.
Oh, boy.
He'd make sure you didn't, you never said that again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not sore. I loved him. He would actually, you went to Connecticut in some of his classes. We would go.
Not with his classes, but
Right. Okay.
no, I didn't have the
You
opportunity
missed
to
that.
do that.
We traveled down there for 2 hours.
Yep,
11 guys in a station wagon.
I've heard the stories.
Oh my God! And I won't even mention it's just craziness. We were all young.
Yeah.
But he would kill us for 2 hours, easily 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and he never had he had fans in the school, big fans, never any air conditioning. In Connecticut, I remember we walk outside and it was 98 degrees. It had to be 198 inside that, and he would say, "Okay, look, everyone take a mirror." We were all black belts, right? So it was a black belt classes, and there were 20, 30, 40. Do jump, reverse round kick, right? So you're standing there. Now, anyone who knows what a jump, reverse round kick is, expends all the energy in your body. He walked into his office where there was a big window, and we just had to keep jumping. And if you stopped jumping and bent over, Bob, keep jumping. Yes, sir. Right, and he'd grab the phone and make believe he was on the phone, like because he did it more than once. And I asked him years after that. I said, Mr. Lee, remember the class you used to give us jump, reverse, round kick? Yeah. Remember you would be on the phone? There was no one on the other end. No. He goes,
Okay.
How did you know that?
So now I have a story about Grandmaster Lee, which you I don't know if you were present for it. I think it was my red Bodan. It might have been my Bodan test.
Okay.
In fact, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
And he had me and the two Ducharme sons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think that was
Okay.
all Bodan. And it's like hook kick right, hook kick left, hook kick right, hook kick left. And he's watching us, the three of us. And he gets up to go correct. I think it was I forget who it was. Right. But and I'm still going. He's behind me having a conversation, and I'm doing it, and I had to keep going. And in my mind, that took 4 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, I was
of course. And you're exhausted. You're in a test.
But I think, I thought it was sort of like an oversight.
Right.
It was not an oversight.
No. Nothing was an oversight with him. He was the master of torturing you. But what he would do, I would go into to Boston for the New England championships.
Yeah.
And he'd call me. He couldn't make it certain days, and he'd call me. How did you do? I come in second, Mr. Lee. Now, anyone in the world would be ecstatic, and ecstatic coming in. I came in second this time, Mr. Lee. What happened? He says, I know what happened. You're not training hard enough. I go, no. And I was training. I says, no, I kind of performed an illegal technique. Oh, now you're back into wise guy. Because he'd call me a wise guy once in a while. You're fighting like wise guy again. I go, well, not really. I had all my whole story. And the whole story involved Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. My Joe Rogan story with Major Battle. Yeah. And I took it out on Major Battle. I loved the man. Yeah. But he would say, you can't you can't fight like wise guy. He wanted everything perfect and to be a gentleman. And I'm always trying to be a gentleman, but once you get into the thick of thing. But he would train us so hard, and that's how I would train you guys. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you train the kids, but your fighters or your higher rank, there's no mercy. And boy, you learn how to hold back pain. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And even to this day, high tolerance for pain. People go, aren't you hurting? I'm always hurting. We're always hurting.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, there's time for hurting later.
Yeah, we'll worry about that later. Yeah, or never tell him. I remember he'd come down to school because we had the Taekwondo school in Lawrence, and he had Connecticut. He'd come down. I remember he'd come down. Bob, how are you feeling? Well, Mr. Lee, my knee kind of bothers me a little. And he'd go, okay, and we'll walk away. Next time he comes down a month later, how are you feeling? My ankle. I was like, oh, okay. Next time you come down, I'm saying, he goes, how you feeling? I go, Mr. Lee, I've never felt better in my life. That's what I want to hear. I go, there it is. I'll never complain. He don't want to hear it. He don't care. Yeah. He had me by 25 years. You want pain? I'll give you pain. He's so funny. I miss that man. Oh, God. And as I get eventually I'm going to try to get all the grandmasters on the show, the stories we could tell. You know what I'm saying? Even now, the stories you can tell just on the Taekwondo and your pistol things, your guns and stuff. A million stories.
I have a story for you that I think I've told you, and I think I've told maybe 2 or 3 other people, but now I'm going to make it public.
Right.
I went to Florida for a wedding.
You're not going to incriminate yourself, are you?
No. Okay. I know the statute of limitations.
It was 7 years ago. You relax.
Listen, I've had this checked by 3 lawyers.
I wasn't with him. No matter what he's going to say, I wasn't with him that day.
And my wife and I parked in this parking lot to meet some folks for this wedding. Right. And we were mugged.
Really?
A car pulls up.
Yeah.
And a guy gets out. There were 5 people. A driver and 4 other guys. Nice. And he came right at me, and he was mumbling something about the money. He wanted the money.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing a fanny pack.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm in Florida.
Right.
I'm wearing a fanny pack, and I reach over to act like I'm opening up the fanny pack. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but in my world, I know what's in the fanny pack.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing. There was no effect.
Right.
Okay. So instead, that was a chamber for a back fist to the temple.
Nice, yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, there was a guy behind me, and he shoved me over when that all happened. Okay. And I got back up in a fighting position. I was ready to go.
Right, yeah.
And what I saw when I got back up in my fighting position was 5 guys getting in a car and beating feet out of there.
Nice.
It was the only time I ever had to use a skill.
Right, yeah.
In self-defense.
Right.
And
I mean, it could have gone terribly wrong.
It could have gone terribly wrong. But
one gun or no guns, or one knife or no knives, and 5 guys on one guy. But you instinctively,
you have to make a decision
very quickly, especially if your wife is
exactly right.
You have
I don't want to dwell on that, but my wife was in a compromising position on the other side of the car.
Right.
So I had a car between me and her.
Right.
If you think that car was going to stop, right. So it was the only time I executed any of my training in actual self-defense, and I was a blue belt.
Wow.
And and it was shortly after that I came back to school.
Nice. Yeah.
And
I think you did tell me that story a while back.
I believe
way
I did.
back. Way,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was
Yeah.
impressed then. I mean, because good for them, smart for them to get out of there. They don't know, that
Well,
could have went terribly wrong.
The average thug
Oh
is
my
not
God.
expecting anybody.
No, the bully. I call them bullies.
Yeah.
I say that on my show all the time.
Then they don't expect anybody to show the shred of skill.
In my think about it. If you're going to be a bully or a thug or a mugger or something, chances are you're not working out. Chances are you probably never worked out. Now, you might have a gun or a knife, and if you have a gun, you got a little advantage. But if you don't have either or, and you're going to end up with someone who's trained in martial arts, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
All right? Unless you get really lucky. Because you're, and I don't want to say low life, but you're probably a low life that you're not training.
Yeah.
And you might never trained in your life.
Yeah.
Because you were busy thinking about the dark side.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing about the... So...
And at blue belt level,
Right.
I had training,
Right.
but I didn't have a lot of training.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons that I like to emphasize when I'm teaching the practical self-defense.
Right.
And
A lot of practical self-defense.
yeah,
yes.
the reality of it. And I know when you would teach in class, you would have a section called self-defense, and you would teach things specifically
This is what happens.
for self-defense.
That's what my Taekwondo show that I just did an hour ago, a lot of that is self-defense and basic. You don't have to get fancy. If you have a basic front round kick, I've seen people win national championships with a front round kick or an axe kick, and that was their kick. They really didn't have a martial art. They didn't have much technique.
Right.
But they had that one kick, and they were fast, and they would win national. They had long legs, or they were fast, and they could knock people out.
Yeah.
So you don't have to really be crazy with 8 million kicks. You have one kick that's going to work, or you have one back fist. People aren't ready for a back fist, and it's going to hit him on the side of the head, and it's like getting hit with a bat,
Yeah.
And it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Now, when you went in here and you come back there, it wasn't like you got ready to cock your fist back. It was snap.
Snap,
That's how we learned it with
crackle, pop.
the hip jog.
By the way, to close that story out, that genius that led the attack on us went to jail. They caught him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they put him away.
He was the genius, huh?
He was the genius
The
because
genius.
his partner did a full handprint on the hood of our car.
With fingerprints and everything.
As he's going around the car, I saw him put the full handprint on it, and I remembered that.
Isn't that wild?
And when the cops came, I said, "Come here,
Yeah.
right there."
Yeah. He didn't. I bet you didn't go to MIT.
I'm pretty sure I didn't see him there. No,
He didn't whistle on a pistolero team.
I don't think so.
That's so funny.
I don't think so.
Yeah. They'll never catch us. Well, isn't that your handprint?
They're not going to know. How are they going to know?
How are they going to know?
They're not going to know.
Did you wear your gloves? No. That's so funny. It's not funny. It's a true story, but it's a good little story you had there. 5 guys. That's, and in today's world, it's just driving. I drive to work and I drive home, and it's the road rage. I'm going, this is out of control.
Yeah.
And we're living up. I consider this, especially New Hampshire and up in Mass. I mean, more of a liberal, easygoing type of area to live. Imagine like New York, well, even Boston. You got to stay out of Boston, but New York and Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying?
I took a course down in Manhattan a few years back, a photography course, and I said, I'll drive into Manhattan.
Why not?
I'm not going to drive around Manhattan, but I'll drive in.
Yeah.
I'll park the car. I'll pay the expensive,
Right.
the hotel rate for the week, and then I'll drive myself home.
Why not?
Right. Well, we're 5 miles out, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? This is horrible.
Oh.
And
dangerously horrible.
Oh, yeah. So, I can imagine people getting quite upset.
See, the thing, and it's funny being a martial artist, fourth dan, and being a martial artist, I always had a confidence. I always had a maybe too confident, because you're not stopping a bullet. Anything else, I feel like I can control the situation, but can't stop a bullet. And they're out there. All right, I'm talking about these. You know, you're in trouble if you get out of a car because someone. And what are you going to do?
One of the things, you know, I've learned. So I've also taken training in defensive pistol.
Right.
I've taken training in knife defense, and I've taken training in jujitsu.
Right.
And all of these things have added to my martial arts
right.
Understanding. And I think a little bit of training, a little bit of confidence goes a very long way to helping somebody in a self-defense situation.
Right. Well, number one, I have a you know, we're confident people. I'm confident. I fear nothing.
I'm absolutely positive you're confident.
I fear, but that can be detrimental to how you handle a situation too sometimes, because you figure you're bigger than life or the situation, and you're not.
And that brings us right back.
You walk away.
Run away.
You run away. And I'd say that on my show.
Yeah.
If you can run,
yeah.
If someone's coming at you with a stick or a knife, run and scream if you have to.
Yeah.
Someone's going to try it. Somebody's going to attack me, because you can. And you're not a coward. You saved either your own life or you saved his life. Someone was going to probably die in a situation, and I don't want that. So I mean, I haven't had that. Knock on wood. I'm still superstitious. So, I haven't had that situation, but close. You come close in today's world that you have to turn the other cheek and just say it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Absolutely. When I was teaching the passive passive fighting stance, right? The whole idea was to look passive and then figure out how to beat feet.
If you can run. Or scream, and it's, you know, I'm telling that for children and women and stuff. Scream as loud as you can.
Yeah.
Use your phone. I got a whole show once a year on what to do coming out of a mall. Hand on your car buzzer. Get that horn going. Scream as loud as you want. Oh, he was just going to ask me directions. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? How did I know that?
Well, you know, having some random person think you're a nut job. That's a small price to pay.
small price to pay. And in today's world with our kids, man, I'm scared. I'm so scared. It's getting dangerous. And maybe we've been saying that for the last 1,000 years, but it's getting dangerous out there.
Well, you know, Sam having a black belt,
right?
And you know, Jared didn't go further than, I think, yellow with green trim,
right?
But even Jared, right? After years of zero Taekwondo, we'd be playing around in the kitchen.
Throw a kick.
And he would throw a kick. And I'm like,
there you go.
Whoa, it's still in there.
Of course.
You know?
Kids are resilient.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. So one of these days, I'm hoping we can get them back.
You can't push them.
No.
And I tell people, and I did a show. I don't know if you saw the show, my 6-year-old grandson. And I had him on the show. He never did any martial arts at all. And I had him for 15 minutes, and he was good. Front snap, kick. Then he goes, I'm hungry. And I went, yeah, we're almost done. I want meme. He laid on the ground. I said, cut.
It's a technique.
And he was running around. And I shelved it. That was 2 years ago. He was 4. Excuse me. He was 4 years old. He's 6 now. So I asked him how old he was when we started the show, and he goes, I'm 6. And he was only 4. And so I shelved it. 15 minutes of insanity, me trying to keep. And then I brought it back just for the laughs. I put it on last week. YouTube it.
It's
awesome. On YouTube.
I will.
And then I started talking about, if you're going to train children, if you want to train them 4, 6, do it in spurts. An hour and a half's too much.
Yeah.
An hour's too much. Half hour might be too much. Give them 15 minutes. Show them some kicks in 15 minutes. Let them work out a little bit, and that's good. Then as they get older, you know. Excuse me.
I do that with Jared. We have these, you know, something will happen in the kit. Well, again, we'll be playing around, and I'll show him. I'll say, let me show you how to do this. And, you know, 60 seconds, and that was it. So one day maybe we'll get him back.
It's how's your excuse me, my hay fever.
Oh, me too.
Destroying my.
Absolutely.
And I'm
on 3 different drugs. I don't want to talk about it.
I've never had, and I've had hay fever most of my life, but I don't remember it this bad.
I heard that this is the worst season measured ever.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not, and everyone's
It's
going.
not you. It's it's the oak trees. It's not you.
Yeah.
For me, it's oak trees.
And the thing is, down here it's supposed to be settling down, but I go up to Ossipee once a week. It's just kind of starting there.
Yeah.
and all of a sudden we see smoke as I'm driving. I see Mount Washington on 16. I'm on Route 16. I see Mount Washington. I see the whole valley, and I look, and I go, well, either that's smoke from Canada or that's pollen.
It's pollen.
Whatever it is, ain't good for us. You know?
Yeah.
And it's both. They say smoke from Canada or smoke from the wildfires that are out there are just going to cover half of New England this weekend and stuff.
I have an air filter in my bedroom, and I'm not afraid to use it.
God, yeah, Jesus, it's yeah. And the funny thing is, I'll feel all right, and then I'll get in my car, turn on my my fan, either my heater or the pollen comes out of that. And my brother-in-law the other day goes, you know, change your filter in behind your dash, you know.
Yeah.
He says, in my whole life, I've never changed one of those. He goes, yeah, you're going to take your dashboard. I don't know what you're going to do, but I ain't doing it. You know?
That's a life-changing experience.
I would call you. I would imagine.
Write the check. Just have somebody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I would take the dashboard, whatever you have to take apart, and it wouldn't get back there. That's why I go to Danny Greenelge in Draycott for all my auto. I open up the hood to fix, and blood starts coming out of my joints.
Yeah, close the hood.
Close the hood very gently.
Step away from the car.
Pay the money, and now you live.
Get out the checkbook.
Oh my God, yeah. You know, some things you're good at.
Yep.
Some things you're not.
Yep.
If you're not, let the professional do what you're not good at.
I have learned that now.
Oh yeah.
It took a while.
Yeah. My ego. I've learned as you get older, your ego says, "Well, your ego could be hurt, but your limbs and your you know how much you want to bleed." You know, wow, that's a whole hour almost there, buddy.
I can't believe
we're going to come back. I got to get you back on this because we could talk for hours.
Yes, we can.
So again, it's if anyone wants to hear, you're everywhere.
Yep.
We can find Spencer Webb.
So here's a shortcut to all of my links. Go to pfg.gg/links. And that's all you need to know.
And if I actually Googled Spencer Webb. He was one of them was, I think, a great baseball player who died.
Football player.
Oh, was he a football player?
Yeah,
Spencer
I got a lot of messages on Twitter.
All right, yeah.
I'm like, sorry, wrong guy.
Because and that was this morning. I just wanted to. I'm trying to get onto all your links just so when we talk. And I don't have my glasses on at the time. I can't read without my glasses, so I'm making believe I can read, and I'm going. Dead.
Hey,
is that his face? I can't.
Listen, Route 38 is dangerous.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you don't have your glasses on and you think you can make believe you can read, I can't even make out faces.
Yeah,
and my ego. There you go. That's what the ego is.
That's all right.
You know, and if anyone wants to catch this show, we're on Spotify. We're on any podcast. Google us, and on YouTube. TKD Grandmaster Bob Lemire, TKD as in Taekwondo, Grandmaster Bob Lemire, and you'll see you'll see my podcast and you'll see my Taekwondo shows. You'll see Mr. Webb here, so if they want to watch that, well, it'll be a fun show.
And I did a Taekwondo show with you a couple of years ago.
I can't remember that.
I did.
I think, and believe me, people think I'm out of my mind. I started the Taekwondo shows in 1990, 33 years ago.
Really?
I started them in, did you do the show at the school?
No, we did it. Well, yes, we did one at the school.
Yeah.
Remember, I did a outer crescent break, and you said that was the first time you ever saw one.
All right. I do remember that
at
the school. Because since 1990, I started a PATV, Pelham Taekwondo, Pelham TV. And then I went to DATV. Mm-hmm. If I'm not pushing over 1,000 shows, I'm telling you, because at one point in Pelham, I was doing almost a show a week.
Wow.
10 years goes by, that's a lot of shows. Then I went every other week. I've been doing every other week almost for 33 years. It's unbelievable. And people say, well, don't you run out of stuff? I keep reviewing. What do you mean?
That's right.
You can't. Well, that's like, well, I already learned the front round kick, so I don't go to school anymore, and I don't want to learn that because you showed me that once.
Right.
You know. But that's it, brother, and I really enjoyed it, and we'll do it again.
It was awesome. Happy to be here.
Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, train hard and have fun.